here in the West Philippine Sea on board the Bea Cupin, some 50 nautical miles off the coast of Bataan, to witness for the first time a trilateral exercise between the Coast Guards of the Philippines, the U.S. and Japan. Now, the U.S. and the Philippines and the Japan and the Philippine Coast Guards have conducted exercises together in the past, but this is the first time for all three countries to have one together. A word that gets thrown around here a lot is interoperability. That refers to the ability of three different units, in this case, the Coast Guards of the Philippines, the U.S. and Japan, to work together seamlessly. On a hot June morning in the West Philippine Sea, the Coast Guards play out a made-up scenario. The Department of Foreign Affairs alerts the Philippine Coast Guard about a ship with weapons of mass destruction making its way to Manila. The Philippine Coast Guard intercepts the ship, exchange firefight, only to find that 5 hostile forces have jumped overboard. This is where the U.S. and Japan Coast Guards come in response to a Mayday broadcast from the Philippines asking for assistance in a search and rescue operation. The theoretical scenario here is that the Japanese and U.S. Coast Guard ships, the Akutsushima and the Stratton, just happen to be nearby exercising freedom of navigation operations. On board the BRP Cabra, members of the media are witness to the flurry of exchanges between the Filipino, American, and Japanese Coast Guards as they work together for the exercise. The exercise takes place within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone in the volatile South China Sea, which China is claiming in practically its entirety. The Philippine Coast Guard says this is about convenience, but it's impossible to ignore China. The Philippine Coast Guard has been at the forefront in asserting the Philippine sovereign rights within the South China Sea. And in the past few months, our Coast Guard has been through it all. A laser pointing incident that prompted Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to summon China's envoy in Manila, a near collision in the West Philippine Sea, and radio challenges that happen regularly. The ship behind me is a Philippine Coast Guard vessel, and it serves as a security vessel for today's exercise, meaning if a vessel that's not part of the exercise enters the opera box or the area in which the different vessels are conducting this exercise, its task is to warn that vessel, inform them of the exercise, and potentially, if needed, to shoo them away. As we're filming this, no outsider vessel has been in the vicinity. They've also been warned, actually, that an exercise is happening today. Back in 2022, Chinese vessels were spotted close to where the U.S. and Philippine Coast Guards were holding search and rescue drills. Maritime and security experts say the 26,000-strong Philippine Coast Guard has a daunting task ahead.
But it's not just about hardware, it's about advanced technology to surveil the maritime space, and it's a problem set that Philippines' key partners, Japan, Australia, the United States, there's a Quad initiative involved that all of them are quite focused on. So there's no question that the Philippines Coast Guard has a long ways to do in terms of its modernization. But the good thing is it has some good friends.
China's Coast Guard has better equipment. A controversial law passed in 2021 authorized the Chinese Coast Guard to exert all necessary means to deter foreign vessels in the South China Sea. The June 2023 exercises build on long-standing relationships that the Philippines continued to work on even during former President Rodrigo Duterte's pivot to China. The Philippine Coast Guard is the recipient of aid in various forms from ally nations like the U.S. and Japan. The joint exercises are a check on how well the Philippine Coast Guard is doing and how well the Philippines, Japan, and U.S. Coast Guards can work seamlessly together.
It means that we want to have more cooperations. So hopefully in the future, we may have a multilateral exercise. We don't know. But for now, this is a good thing that the different nations cooperating for this exercise can cooperate well.
Because when you're faced with a daunting task, where you're outnumbered by a force like China that's not afraid to be aggressive, you get by with a little help from your friends. Bea Cupin, Rappler, the West Philippine Sea.